Outdoor Canada. Don't miss a single issue of Canada's only national hunting and fishing magazine. Subscribe to Outdoor Canada today.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of the Spring Fishing and Boat Show, and it's getting to know our partners and more one-on-one, getting personal, and just showing you that the people we're involved with and the people that we're bringing and that are involved with our tournaments, not our tournaments, but with the show, in front and behind the scenes, are people that bring a lot to the table here in the outdoor community. So I'd like to welcome our good friend Patrick Walsh from Outdoor Canada magazine. Oh, Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Andy?
All right, so he's kind of low. I need you to project your voice. Victoria says, project your voice.
I'm doing well, Andy. How are you?
Well? Okay, she says you're good. All right, so I apologize because I didn't say that you're the editor in chief of Outdoor Canada magazine, and that's a huge thing. You know what I mean? Like that's something to be proud of. I'd be very proud of having that title. All right, you flaunt it?
No.
What do you mean?
I'm
no?
very modest. I'm a very modest man.
It's not something you flaunt. I don't know. I think I would flaunt it. You know.
It's funny. Sometimes I'll be out and fishing or just talking to guys. Like I'd be down at Little Lake here in Peterborough talking to the guys fishing on the shoreline, and I once helped a guy get unsnagged, and my wife says, "Why don't you tell him who you are?" And I go, "Because that's just kind of a bit goofy. I just want to talk to him as an angler, not as the editor of a magazine that talks about fishing."
Hey, that's fair enough, dude. You know, like sometimes people feel like well, wow, look at you, you're the editor. I'm joking around, but the amount of stuff that you do behind the scenes, people don't know and they don't realize. And there's one thing that I do want to bring to the front of this thing before we get going is like it was a few years ago, and I made that call and you jumped on right away, and we talked about recognition for Canadian anglers here in Canada, and we said, funny thing is, there's no Angler Hall of Fame for Canadians, right? And you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
You remember all that? And right away you got on again. Like the thing is you all those things that I don't know, right? And making that happen, and what should that person be? And we were looking for reasons, and it was like yesterday, dude. You remember that? Like trying to figure out how do we get the biggest thing was how do we get it going? You remember, like how do we get the Canadian Angler of Fame going, and making sure that it's got credential. Like that was the biggest thing we were trying to figure out, because we didn't want to just all of a sudden start throwing names in there because we thought they were guys that deserved it, right? So it was a lot of processing involved in that. You remember that?
Yeah, I do, and it's a long time ago now, Andy, isn't it? Like how many members have you put in the hall now? It's quite remarkable, and every one of them well deserved, of course.
Every one of them have been well deserved, because those outlines we started bringing them together. And I'm sorry, I should have been more prepared for this, because I actually have it here, but we don't actually have the year since. So Victoria's going to look it up for us, and she's going to let us know here in a second. That's why she's the brainchild. But anyway, so it's like it was important because in order to start inducting people into it, and then we kind of turned it over to them. Is that the way most Hall of Fame things work, or like as far as like compared to other Hall of Fames like around the world? We don't know.
It beats me. It just takes a couple of guys with an idea to get it going, I think.
But we had the idea, but our whole thing, what, Victoria? It started in 2008, dude. Think about that.
Yeah.
It's what? So, and right now there's 26 members. So some years we've doubled them. Oh, actually, the first one we kind of took all the guys that were, past that had passed away to help us get credentials, and then we put the obvious guys, and then we kind of made it their club, right? You remember that? Like that we said we have to make it their club.
It's like
And
the members run it basically now.
yeah, and like Patrick and I actually have like a final vote in case it gets tied up, and then we need to because we're the creators. So it's kind of cool, right? It is actually a real cool deal, and like guys that are in it are guys like we're talking Tom Brook is in it, president, and Brian was actually Brian McDonald from he was the president of Berkeley, Canada, a few years back. We have Big Jim's in it. Gord Pizer's in it. Now Gord Pizer's one of your guys, right? And he's going to be on. He's going to be on this weekend as well too. It's kind of cool. Um, we also got guys like Bob Azumi in it. I think
Yeah,
Wade Azumi's in it. Reno Viola. Um,
Angelo, Angelo and Pete Bowman,
who?
Pete
Oh,
Bowman and Angelo Viola.
Victoria's like trying to tell me in the background. Walter's in it, right? From the Sportsman Show. We actually got into last year, so we really one of the biggest thing is to kind of bring people that have done a lot in the industry and people that have been recognized. And who knows, one day maybe me or you'll be in there too. When they get lucky, dude, you never know.
I
Victoria's
think
writing for it.
one two ahead of me. You way before me, Andy.
Oh yeah, no. You know what? What makes it good is when you talk to guys like Big Jim that are in it, or Gord. Like Gord actually has it in his outline as an anger
Yeah,
failure. If you ever get an email from him, it actually says it. And it makes me feel so good that these guys actually and you got to remember, Gord wasn't in right at the beginning, so Gord was legitimately voted in by the alumni. Is that the right word for it? So we call them the alumni of the Anger Hall of Famers, I guess you want to call them. And I think it's a pretty big honor to be a part of that now.
for sure. Yeah, it's taken on it really has in a way taken on a life of its own, and that there's such a critical mass of members now that they can make a choice amongst themselves of who to induct next. I mean, who better to judge than the people that are already members?
Yeah, like I guess the first guy was Red Fisher, right? And the thing is you look at Red Fisher, like he had already passed away at the time, but let's face it, like he was definitely the legend when it comes to Canadian anglers, and it was a good way to create a foundation or to root the whole process, right? So which is kind of cool. So let me ask you a question: how long you been with Outdoor Canada magazine?
I joined in 2000.
So
So
2000.
2000. So it'll be 22 years this August.
22 years. Victoria's like, and I'm like, I think that's what it means. Yes, Victoria. So 22 years you've been with the magazine, which is cool. You've actually watched the magazine change ownership now twice. Is that correct?
Oh, 4 times. I'm on my fourth owner.
But the thing is like it just seems like I've never really seen the magazine take notice that there's been change in ownership. And I guess that kind of comes back to you for doing the job you're doing, which is a good job, right? By the way. But it has changed the ownerships. Has it been more challenging for you with the different ownerships, or is it just basically business as usual?
You know what? All the owners have let me and my team do our thing and have not interfered because they're happy with what we're doing, and they've all been great. All the owners have been great, and our current owner, he's a Mark Yellick of Outdoor Group Media, awesome publisher, gives us carte blanche, and they try not to destroy the product, as it were. And the only challenge that we have these days is just that the advertising market is so tight now. That's it. But in terms of creative freedom, it's always been there.
So
wish we had more pages these days.
So how many guys are in your team? So you said your team. So what's the Outdoor Canada team consist of?
There's me, my managing editor, Bob Sexton, associate editor, Scott Gardner, who's also does our website, and he's our fly fishing columnist, and our tireless art director, Sandra Chung.
Yeah. And how many writers do you have right now?
We have a stable about a dozen regular writers we use, and then we'll bring in, if we're always looking for new voices. If anyone's interested in sending us a story pitch, please do. Yeah.
So you would accept a story from someone outside the norm? Like, say, I decide I want to write a story. Would you accept that?
Um,
Okay, wait, let me rephrase that. Let's say
sure,
some
Andy.
some total stranger wanted to write a story. Would you be okay with that? I should have said that the right time, the right way the first time. So, so
I would
what would
definitely accept this story from you, Andy.
yeah.
What we do with new people to us is we encourage them to read our contributor guidelines, which are on our
Oh,
website,
really? Oh, that's
and
cool.
see what the kind of stories we want and need and how to approach us with pitching their story idea.
So you actually have a guide for this on your website
Yeah,
to how to. Oh, that's really cool. So that
yeah.
means like a young outdoors person can easily go into your website and
Hmm.
look this up, and you never know, we might have a new writer that came because of this.
Yeah, just scroll down to the bottom of our homepage and you'll see the link for the contributor guidelines.
Wow. Wow. So you've had the opportunity to fish right across Canada and write about it, and I'm sure you got guys doing that for you. Where would you say what's the most memorable trip you've been on? Do you have a memorable trip?
Yeah, definitely. It's the Tree River in Nunavut for the giant Arctic char out there. Just
Oh wow.
fantastic. It was just a fantastic trip.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
End of season, I think was the last trip in of that year. Uh, you fly in from Great Bear on a float plane, you land right on the river, and then you stay in a wall tent with an airtight heater, and you fish all day. Um, as long as it was a lot of light up there.
How cold is it up there? Must be pretty cold.
Um, you want to bring a coat.
You think?
Well, we had that. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was when was that? Early September. I think it was the first week of September, and we had the airtight going in the wall tent. I tell you that much. At night, it did get a bit nippy.
Yeah.
Um, but
Did you guys eat? Did you actually eat what you caught, or you're allowed to eat?
I guess each trip they retain one fish. So we
Yeah.
retained one char. We had actually had sashimi.
Oh
So
wow.
we ate it
Oh,
raw.
you,
It was
oh
amazing.
wow.
Yeah, just amazing.
Oh
Just
wow.
bright,
That
bright,
sounds
bright,
really
bright,
good.
bright orange, red, kind of like your sign behind you.
Wow. And you actually had sashimi style. I wouldn't even have thought that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it was
amazing.
awesome. Yeah,
Oh, and when was this?
knew you were gonna ask me that. Gosh, gosh. It was in the. It was between
Really?
2005 and 2010.
Wow. That's pretty awesome actually, dude. I would have never you always see that stuff, you see the grayling catching, fishing and all that stuff, and you see the char. And it's always something that I think everybody would love to do. And at the fishing show, we always have all these resorts that come from, northern Canada and stuff. And you always think, it's a lot of money. But once you get to a certain part of your age, you start thinking, it would have been a trip that you would have remembered for a lifetime.
Oh
It's
yeah, I mean, it's such the, up there. It's such a unique place. The landscape is just amazing. You go, you can. We took a trip right out to the Coronation Gulf, the Arctic Ocean. I had
yeah.
a swim, about a 5-second swim.
You swam like a polar swim? Is that what they call that?
I dove in. It
Did you
was
do that because it was like a bucket list thing, or do you do it because you thought
well,
you did
if whoever did it got a T-shirt. And I wanted the
it?
T-shirt.
Come on. You
Yeah,
you got a T-shirt for dumping in?
yeah,
I
yeah. It
don't
says
know.
I was stupid enough to swim in the Arctic Ocean.
Wow. Well, you know what? It's a good memory. You're never gonna forget it, that's for sure. Shock of a lifetime, you know? Did you see any polar bears or anything like that while you're up there or no?
No polar bears. No.
I never even thought of my niece just came back from Nunavut. She was working up there for the longest time, and I never even asked her if she's ever actually gone fishing for char because she's like right into like the outdoors, right? So, and that's pretty cool, dude. But we have some really good things down here and stories down here. So, do most of your writers like when they write stories, are they from more stuff like down in this area, like the southern parts, or are they for every province pretty much?
We try to have them right across the province, right across the country. We have quite a few in Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. Couple down east, and we don't actually have a lot of Ontario writers because we're here, and we have Gord here in
Yeah,
Kenora.
you
So
got a lot of stories.
yeah,
And
Um,
we want to thank you for Gord, by the way, because he's already agreed to getting involved with the with our article. I'm sorry, with the Ultimate Ice Fishing Show. So he'll be one of our headliners for that, and we're really looking forward to that show this year. It's going to be definitely a new show for us. But and Gord, every year he's always come down, and we thank Outdoor Canada for doing that, because he's I call him an encyclopedia of information. Like, that guy just knows so much about everything. Like,
well, and the passion he has for sport fishing is unparalleled. I guarantee you. I fished, had the pleasure of fishing with him, and you'd think after the guy fishes so much. I mean,
yeah.
almost every day of the year if he could. But to see him still get so excited when you get his fish on the line, it's just incredible.
And now with his grandson, and that's
Oh,
he'll be headlining the ice fishing show with his grandson, so he's pretty excited about that too.
that's
So
luckiest kid on the planet. That one. He's grown up with grandpa teaching him how to fish, and now he's a darn fine fisherman in his own right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool. Like, the whole topic, like the whole reason why I wanted to get into this, because I think that, and why I wanted you on the show, and you've answered it, is that it was actually a lot easier. I didn't even have to ask you the question, but just to go on the website. And you never know, you might be a writer for Outdoor Canada magazine, providing you need everything. And I respect that, because at the end of the day, when you can't just hire any writer. I mean, you want to make sure that they're qualified, because it reflects back on the magazine and all the hard work of the years that it has done. So it's not putting anybody down or putting it's being realistic. Like, if I read a magazine, I'm gonna kind of take it to, like, hey, especially when you got an article coming in there from Gord, and you'd want to think that any other article in there is going to have the same type of credibility to it, right? So I respect that. And but it's pretty cool that they can do that very easily to get to possibly having a career.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean, there's a lot of there's a million great stories out there, and we can't know about them all without being told.
so
So,
I'm sure everybody's probably thinking, does it pay?
pardon me.
I'm kind of thinking of a question what people would be thinking right now, and I'm thinking, I wonder if they're probably thinking, does a job pay?
Oh yeah, we'll pay for an article. You won't get rich off it. Uh, Outdoor writers in Canada usually also have a day job as well.
Yeah, true.
Kind of like kind of the guys in the CFL.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so let me ask you another question. What about photographs? Like, what if a person? Do you guys
Yeah,
pay for it?
yeah,
Same
same.
thing?
Yeah, same. And
So
then
do they just send in the photographs, or could they call you first and say, "Hey, here's my photograph"?
we just get we have guys sending photos all the time, and because we do have
That
one page in the magazine where people can send in photos and get them published of their
like
trophy.
that alone must be a job, to siphon through all the pictures you're getting through the mail. Like, you must be getting a lot of picture shots from people sending
Well,
them
yeah.
in.
Well, and you know what? More and more now with social media, we're getting tagged on stuff, especially on Instagram. So we're seeing a lot of. We've actually discovered a few photographers and pictures through Instagram. In fact, we've had one guy on the cover twice
Oh,
that
wow.
I found on tagged us on Outdoor Canada on Instagram.
Oh, wow. That's
So
pretty cool.
yeah,
Well, the thing is I like about what I do like about the magazine, because it does go from coast to coast, right? And we've had some of our guys written up in there, like, even in that commercial, Eric Luzak, you know what I mean? And it's kind of cool to see that. Um,
yeah.
like, that's the kind of hard work that goes into it. Like, you're in depth in finding those I guess those stories that are out there, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I kind of I like. How do you feel about the direction of the magazine? Do you see it being more virtual or more that way, or do you think it'll always be a hardcover, a hard copy to it?
We're kind of at the mercy of the almighty ad dollar. So as long as we can get a
Yeah,
critical mass of advertising moving forward, we'd love to continue with the print edition.
yeah,
Um, eh, all our data shows that our audience prefers it in print rather than digital.
hmm
Uh, and it's tough, Field and Stream and Outdoor Life. They're now digital only. They've
Yeah.
retire your print products. So that just shows you how tough it is out there right now. But
You know, I think I actually have an old Field and Stream magazine, so I wonder if it's worth anything now.
I
That's
got
all
the
I
very last issue.
so there you go. I want the last issue of Outdoor Canada, and I know that's not what we're saying. But the thing but it's true though. Like even like a lot of stores have gone to it, and but the whole thing, even behind what we're doing here with this weekend with the guys we're speaking to, because there's so many YouTubers out there nowadays, and so many people that can make a go of it. But like I want to show people that what the whole idea of this weekend is to show the credentials behind the people we're dealing with, because yeah, there's a lot of people doing what they're doing right now, but like these guys aren't just doing it because they're trying to figure out okay, I can make some money, and then I'll move on to the next story, right? Because I think that but with saying that, there are a lot of you guys that are just as hardened into this as anybody else, but unfortunately it's just a different game nowadays. So I just want to reach into the individual like yourself and show the person you are, and how sincere you are about what you do. And that's by just saying, hey, just send in a magazine ad and we're going to we're going to run it, takes away from that credibility, because you want to make sure that it meets the criteria of what the magazine is trying to accomplish, right? And I think you're doing a good job, by the way, so but I throw that in there.
Thanks, Andy. I do my best, and my team. I've got a good team behind me.
I think you guys do a great job, dude. So, and I want to thank you, because I know you're getting involved with the ice fishing show as well, which is a phenomenal thing. We're pretty excited about it ourselves. And we've always taken that role where it's been about the manufacturers and showing the newest, the latest stuff, and we're gonna continue that same situation with the Outdoor Canada stage at the Ultimate Ice Fishing Show, where we'll bring in new product where people can touch and feel and we'll be able to talk about it. And that stage will be active all day long. And we see how well it works for the manufacturer at the Spring Fishing Show, where all of a sudden the guy gets up there, shows the bait, and then it's beeline back to the booth to go buy one or to pick one up. Right? Yeah. So we thank you for that, because those areas are made possible with your support, and even through guys like Gord Pizer, which I can't begin to tell you, like that guy is incredible.
You see the draw he gets at your shows.
So if I was to ask you who's your best writer, who would you say that would be?
Gord Pizer.
I was thinking you were going to go, I couldn't say nothing.
We've had some fantastic writers over the years, and unfortunately, we've lost several of them to cancer, which is the strangest thing. Jake McDonald, well, he wasn't cancer; he died in a terrible fall in Mexico. And wow. Paul Harrington was cancer. Mark Anderson was cancer. And they were just fantastic writers, so irreplaceable.
Yeah, you know what? They've all had their. The one good thing you can say is that they've all left the legacy of what they've done and their achievements. People will remember them, and not everybody's going to remember those names or who they are and whatever. But the people that do are people that appreciate them, and sometimes that's a good thing to leave behind, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit of legacy, right? So
there forever.
You think we're going to leave anything behind?
The Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah. You know what? Created. You never know, dude. That might be a good thing. So I just wanted to kind of do a quick interview with you, and just kind of the whole thing was to find out how can someone become a writer, and you did that really quick for me. It was surprising it went that easy.
Yeah. Well, there's people that think they can write but can't write. There's people that don't think they can write but write, and it's getting to that point where you connect with an editor that sees something there, and that's why we do encourage people to send us their ideas, and we get a good idea of their writing just by the way they formulate their idea about a story they want to write about. So that's why we encourage people to send us a query email, and if they have a story they want to tell, we're all ears.
Well, dude, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I'll be looking forward. We'll probably see each other before the ice fishing show. But thank you very much for coming on. It's greatly appreciated. And next year we'll be live again, right?
Yeah, actually, you should do this show out in a boat fishing with guys.
Maybe we can. Maybe we should.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can do it at one of our tournaments. You'd like that?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. You know what? We just wanted to do something different. After last year, we had all the guys come on from the show and kind of they all did a great job. I'm not going to knock it. They all did a fantastic job in how to fish, right? And the thing is, like, we did it, and then they do it on their own. Other people do it. We just figured, I just want to show these. I want to show the industry who these guys are. You know what I mean? And I want to know, what makes these guys tick. How dedicated are they? And you're one of those guys. They're like, very well respected in the industry. If you're part of the outdoors world, I guarantee you know that name. Patrick Walsh is a very strong name here, and we appreciate what you do for us. And in promoting the sport and doing a great job. And the stories are great too. So anyways, we're going to wrap this up. I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in and letting us know how to become a writer, possibly on the Outdoor Canada magazine. So thank you very much, buddy.
Well, looking forward to seeing you in person in the near future. We're almost
Yeah,
there.
we're going to be announcing this year's Angler Hall of Famer. I think it's going to happen on Friday next week, where
Oh,
we
yeah.
have a Zoom call. And we do it on, like we have at the industry breakfast at the fishing show, which you're
Yeah.
obviously there. It's just it's just everybody's away now. Like as soon as they started opening up these traveling thing, it's made it difficult. So
True.
we decided to make it next week and let people enjoy their traveling right now, because I can't wait to get pelleted. Do something in Florida or something. I don't know. We'll see.
We're going to Florida at the end of March.
The end of March. So yeah, so we never know. We might visit you down there.
Yeah, and hopefully we're actually going to go to Italy in the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll give you my paese. You can go visit it and let them know that you know me. They'll feed you. Trust me. All right. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate your time, buddy. All the best.
All right. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Patrick Walsh, the editor-in-chief of Outdoor Canada magazine. And for the guys that know Patrick, and if you're like, he's like Switzerland, because he like us with the fishing show and the tournaments. It's a neutral ground, because like if you are Bob Izumi, or if you are any of the guys, the top guys in this province, the Violas, the Italas, like he deals with all of them on different levels. And he's done a great job doing that and maintaining that for the industry. So thank you very much for everything you did and assisting me and helping me create the Canadian Angler Hall of Fame, because it was the most important thing about the Canadian Angler Hall of Fame was to be able to kickstart it with credential. And that's where guys like Patrick bring all kinds of ideas to the table, and what's required, and what makes that happen, and what makes a Canadian Angler Hall of Famer. And so even when they are elected by the alumni, they still have guidelines, and they have to follow to make sure that they're just not saying, hey, oh, it's my buddy, I want to get him in. It doesn't work like that. And if you ever have a chance, go in and check out the names, all the guys that have been inducted to the Canadian Angler Hall of Fame, and you can tell me who doesn't deserve to be there. So once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of the Spring Fishing Boat Show Virtual. We will be back with more speakers, or more, not speakers, but more guests, which are speakers, I guess, in a short time. Thank you very much.
Every day on the water is a blank canvas. You can reach new waters and ride endless waves. So drop the hammer or the anchor and let adventure be your guide. Mercury engines are made for exploring. So are you. Go boldly.